Everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Marina from the Brazilian marketing team. While we wait for everybody to join, let's go and introduce ourselves using the chat. So if you want to please pop in the chat your name, your organization, and where you're joining from today. I am based in São Paulo, Brazil. That's why it's dark outside. It's 9 p.m. now. And as you've seen in the chat, we have our friend Georgie as well joining us from Raisley. She will be talking to you in the chat if I miss anything. Hi, Elena from New Zealand. Yay, sunny Auckland. That's exciting. Hi, Gabe. Sophie from Melbourne. Miranda in Newcastle from Lifeline Direct. Hi, Steph. Oh, it's popping a lot of names here, so I'm not going to be able to say hello to everybody. But yeah, welcome. I'm so happy to be talking to you all today. It's going to be a very interesting, yet somewhat personal chat about AI and how we can use AI to pretty much optimize everything we do to become better at our jobs. So I see Jenny, Tammy, Rebecca, Michelle, Aaron, Debbie, Meredith, Sarah. Hi, everyone from Sydney, from Cambodia. Yes, from Brisbane, Perth. Wow, welcome everybody. So yeah, super exciting to see people from all over Australia, New Zealand, Cambodia joining today. Before we start diving deep into our subject for today, which is AI, I will take a few minutes to just introduce myself. I have been working for Raisley for the past 4 years, so you might have seen my face pop up in an email here and there. I am a brand and innovation manager here at Raisley, but I'm also a digital marketer. I have been doing marketing for startups for over the past 10 years. So don't let this 20s face fool you. It's been a while. I've been around for a while. I'm also a brand strategist. I love building strong brands that connect with an audience. I think messaging is really important, really powerful. So the fact that we can create meaningful brands is always has been fascinating to me. And lately, over the past, I guess, 2 years, I have been making myself an AI enthusiast, just like learning everything there's out there to learn about AI and how we can use AI to become better professionals, to increase our impact, and to further our mission. As I know, we here from Raisley and also you are working for a greater purpose. So yes, I still see some introductions coming on via the chat, so keep them coming. Let's get to know everybody. One last thing to know about myself is that I am also a collector of random hobbies. I love collecting hobbies. So from cocktail making to coffee and bouldering and bike riding, you name it, I love to learn something new. So if you ever want to chat about some exciting hobby you have, something you are exploring, just pop a DM at my LinkedIn account. I'll be super happy to learn more about your hobbies as well. But we're here today to talk about AI, and this webinar, as you probably know, is presented by Raisley. So I know some of you are also already our customers, our partners. So I'll be brief just to introduce Raisley to those who are new to the platform. Raisley is a fundraising platform. We are driven by social impact and we put purpose over profit. We are a very proud B Corp, and we have been for the past few years, I guess 3 to 4 years probably, we have raised actually $750 million for charities that we really care about. And our goal is to raise 1 billion by 2025, which is this year, which is very exciting. Over the past 10 years of our existence, we have made multi-million investment in R&D, and that's just so you can use the best tech to empower your fundraising efforts. We think the best tech should be available to those who are changing the world via meaningful programs. So we really invest in technology to build a high-performing and yet very easy to use fundraising platform. We also help carbon neutral since 2020, and we are a global team. I'm from Brazil, but we have people from all over the globe, in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, United States, Europe, you name it. So we are very lucky to work with very inspiring charities worldwide. From Doctors Without Borders, Critical War, Beyond Blue, Climate Council, just to name a few. Most recently, from last year, the Wombat Awareness did an amazing campaign using Razorly. UNICEF, Peter Mac, the Starlight Foundation, the Heather Hone St. John Hospital, Children's Ground, just to name a few. So if you are interested about learning more, talking to our team about the Razorly platform, I would highly recommend that you scan the QR code on the screen right now, or just go to razorly.com/demo to book a demo and have a conversation about your fundraising plans for 2025 and how we could potentially help you achieve them and make your campaigns better this year. So pause for the water. Yes, let's talk about the thing we're here to talk about today, which is AI. And I'd like to start asking this question, which is the reflection that made me want to share my journey with you today. So as I introduce myself, I am a marketer, not a fundraiser. But the reason I am sharing my journey with you today is because over the past 2 years, I have been learning so much about AI, and I feel like our community could really benefit from some of the things that I've learned. But my learning journey really started with that question: will AI ever steal my job? Can AI do what I do? As a marketer, we work with communication, and as you know, those robots are really good with communication. So I'm curious, can you pop in the chat? Do you think AI will be stealing people's jobs, or it's not quite it? We can work with AI potentially. I'm curious to hear from you, from your perspectives and experiences and thoughts and reflections on this topic. Work with. It's a part of a job. So a lot of people think we will work with AI rather than be stealing our jobs. Jonak said AI will be a productivity multiplier. Love that. Helen said it's my new best friend. I can relate to that. Rob said it will enhance your jobs. And Julia said that AI has the potential to free us up from the manual day-to-day to do some of the big picture work. Yes, I love everything you're sharing here, and I pretty much think that I agree with the majority, which is to think that AI can actually improve the way we work. But my journey wasn't very linear. I started as a skeptic and then turned into an advocate. At first, being very cautious and very skeptic about AI, and then curious when I started at the early days playing out with AI. I think back way before ChatGPT ever happened, and I realized it was really good at writing, which is some of the most important things we do as marketers, which got me concerned. But I decided to flip that, to flip the idea that AI was concerning and take a positive spin. It's not to say that there are not important things to consider, such as ethics or the environmental impact of AI. But I just challenge myself, I guess, to think and really explore how to use AI for the best, for better outcomes, for high quality results, and not very generic outputs. And then I started learning and learning and learning more. And I became an advocate and started driving the team here at Razorly to use more AI in our day-to-day. So after the past 2 years of like doing this journey, I came to the conclusion that AI will actually help us get promoted, get better at what we do by some of the things you shared here, automating manual and time-consuming tasks, and also helping us quick start brainstorming sessions, helping us write things at scale, helping us personalize writing at scale, content creation at scale. So the idea here today is that I will be sharing with you 3 big tips based on my experience of how I have been using AI to improve the way I work. And I hope that you can take that to your day-to-day as fundraisers. So let's get started with the idea to use AI to lead the digital transformation in fundraising. So that's our starting point. And tip number 1 is using AI to optimize content creation. Now, as a marketer, I was looking at the startup world out there to see how people were using AI and the results they were getting. And I was surprised to learn that 80% of marketers said that AI implemented in 2024 actually exceeded ROI expectations. And 90% of marketers say they will have budgets for AI tools in 2025. 54% reported that AI tools had a very positive impact on their organizations. And I most recently also came across a study with fundraisers, and more than 90% of them were planning to use AI in 2025. So I think it's not just a trend, it's a reality. And for content creation, there are a few things we can do to use AI to optimize how we are creating content. We could use AI to draft emails, appeals, and social media posts in literally seconds. We can use AI to personalize donor stewardship and to turn hours of manual writing process into minutes of editing. And why I'm mentioning these minutes of editing is because I don't believe in AI without a human in the loop. So I think we can use the AI to do the heavy lifting of writing and content creation, but it's always good to consider that we are the ones with the unique perspectives that only a human can bring. And therefore, we should always be editing, reviewing, and refining the work that was partially created by AI. But being practical, how do we do that? How do we make sure what can we do in our favors to make sure we are actually putting ourselves there, like putting our perspectives, our experience, and to actually help the machine learning, the AI, the generative model to reflect what we have in our minds. I would say that the number 1 thing we could learn to help with like getting better outputs is prompt engineering. So there is a saying out there that I think it is quite negative. So I try to flip here to say better outputs, better inputs. But what people usually say about prompt engineering and using LLMs is shit in, shit out, meaning that the quality of your inputs, it's what we largely determine the quality of your output. And yeah, I see there are people asking here in the chat if I'll give examples of using AI to personalize donor stewardship. Yes, hang in there because in the last portion of the webinar, I'll be showing actually an automation example of how to personalize AI, not only to use AI, not only to personalize donor stewardship, but to personalize it at scale. So hang in there, we have something for you later on. But back to prompt engineering. This is a screenshot of a recent study published in 2024 that did a systematic overview of prompt engineering techniques. So it's just like, it's just a classifying all of the prompt engineering techniques that were tested out there by academics. And as you can see, it is a lot. It is a lot. So there are many different ways and many different techniques you could optimize your prompts. Each one is best for a given application, but we don't need to learn all of those. I guess we need to keep in mind that a good prompt has three key components. The first one is relevant context. You need to be able to give to the AI the background that only you have about the task that you're doing, about your organization, your mission, your audience, the people you're talking to, the purpose of this content you are creating. So adding to your prompt, my dog just sniffed. Sorry about that. Adding to your prompt, relevant context is super important. The next thing is specifying your task. So whatever task you're asking the AI to do, make sure you're giving a specific frame for that task, and you get better results. And lastly, clear instructions. If this is a task you are used to do yourself, share with AI maybe the steps you use to do it. So if you write emails and you have process of, I don't know, mapping out the purpose of the email and writing an outline of the email and then brainstorming subject lines, share this process with clear instructions, as clear instructions with the AI, and you will likely get better outputs. So just to make that pretty clear for everybody, I brought an example, and this example is a prompt built using the Rhodes framework, which is a framework we can all use. And I'm sure if you are new to AI, this is one thing you can apply today that will 100% help you get better results immediately. So in this example here, we are writing a blog post for a fictional charity called the Inspiring Art Foundation. This is a fictional charity that we created for one of the Razorly templates. So I'm just using the story here to exemplify this prompt. So the first thing this prompt has is a role. We're saying you are a nonprofit content writer skilled at creating emotionally engaging stories. We're attributing a role, almost defining a persona for the AI here. This is not changing the data and the training that the AI has access, but it's giving the AI a frame of reference that it can use to know which data or which part of its training to apply to the task that we are presenting next. So in the Rhodes framework, the O stands for objective. So the next portion of our prompt is actually clarifying the goal of whatever we're asking. So in this case, we're saying, write a blog post that highlights the impact of our end of year appeal, which raised $80,000. The goal is to celebrate this success, show donors the difference they've made, and inspire continued support. So it's super important that we show what success looks like and what is the objective of this prompt. Next, we will be adding details. So you could do this in many different ways. You could add topics. You could share, if you're using ChatGPT, for example, you could share, attach a document. But the idea is to enrich this prompt with details. So in our example here, I would say focus on specific programs funded, like art therapy workshops, community mirror projects, and scholarships for emerging artists. Share personal stories to make the impact feel real. Keep the tone warm, genuine, and grateful while engaging headings and a heartfelt thank you. Aim for around 600 words. So as you can see, we're also giving it some boundaries, which is good. We're defining what we want in greater detail. Next thing, which is great to add, is examples. So it could be very light as our example here, or it could be very detailed. For example, if you want to exemplify your tone of voice, you could copy paste a past email, a past blog post that you've written and you really like the tone, and just use this as an example of like what you expect the AI to do. In our case, we're simply saying show transformations before and after stories and end with a soft CTA like help us keep the momentum going, or see what's next for the Inspiring Art Foundation. So it's just exemplifying, giving a few examples of what we want. And lastly, a sense check. And that could be as easy as ensure the blog feels personal, shows clear donor impact, and inspires pride and connection. That's a sense check. So the AI will check its writing to see if it is according to what we are asking. Or it could be, do you think you have everything you need to proceed with this task? Let me know if you'd like more context. So you could even like ask this question for the AI to give you more tips on how to enhance this prompt. You could say, let me know if there's anything else you need to know, or anything else you would change about how we're approaching this challenge here. Very, very good ways to add a sense check to your prompt and make sure it is aligned, the output is aligned with what you want. So this is the Rhodes framework. If you have been writing prompts different, I would love to hear from you when we send the email with the recording. If you had the chance to give it a try, I would love to hear from you how it went. But yeah, it's something that I think can really increase and improve the results. So Christine is asking, would that level of detail be enough? I think it depends on what you're trying to achieve. For most tasks or most simpler tasks, I do think this level of detail is enough. But if you, for example, would like it to highlight specific stories, maybe you want to share a few documents with, let's say, some stories of beneficiaries, for example. So I think it's a case by case. It's a trial and error, 100%. For our example here, I think we would get much better results if we would at least add in the detail sections these before and after stories that we're asking it to show. Otherwise, it would most likely create those stories for us, create fake stories for us. So go ahead, try, play it out, and don't be afraid to change your prompt or to give feedback to the AI, correcting the course if you need to, while talking, while chatting with a LLM. Sorry, quick pause for the water. This is the road framework is really helpful if you are creating content. But I know that sometimes we don't want to be repeating ourselves too much. I mean, your mission is the same over and over. You won't change. So you have to like write your mission for every prompt, which is not a big deal, especially if you have something like an AI prompt library. But there's a very cool way we could optimize this and make it even more straightforward, which is by creating our own ChatGPT. So that's exciting. ChatGPT in its plus version has what they call custom GPTs or simply GPTs. And this is a feature that lets you create a version of ChatGPT that has your knowledge, your tone of voice, and your context add to it. So as a resource of this webinar, I will be sharing with you a quick video tutorial step by step on how to create your ChatGPT, but I just want to show you how it looks like. So I have an example here. This is a GPT that was trained, and this is the one that I built during the recording of the tutorial. And it is optimized or trained to create campaign messaging and website copy for charities. This is the custom GPT's interface. Is only available for paid users, but if we come here to add a GPT, you will see that we have a box to add instructions. And we gave very specific instructions of what we want. And we also have a knowledge area here where we can upload files. So you could, for example, upload your tone of voice guidelines. You could upload examples. You could upload templates of the content you create and the landing pages you create on your website. You could upload information about your persona, your audience, and that will enrich this GPT so it will be more and more aligned with what you want, with less prompt engineering in your conversations. You could also edit the capabilities you want. So, for example, disabling web search and only using the information that the model has and the information that you give them. So, I don't know if I have time. I will try to give one quick example here for the Inspiring Art Foundation, and I'm going to say, write a, um, let's say, end of financial year appeal for the Inspiring Art Foundation. It must be clear, conversion, optimize, and use a playful tone of voice. The Inspiring Art Foundation offers scholarships for young artists and access to artists to art therapy. So as you can see, this is a much shorter prompt. Let's see how it goes. So yeah, it is creating the copy for our appeal, and it's using the instructions that are here added to the GPT. You will also be able to access those instructions. So it's this document here where you will be able to edit the organization name, your mission and values, your target audience, your brand story, just to make sure it is really tailored to your audience. You can read this, edit the rest of instructions, but it's really not necessary. I think the most important things you should edit are highlighted here in red. So this is a very cool way to create a version of ChatGPT that works best for your organization, and you can get the link of this GPT and share with your team. Alternatively, ChatGPT launched something called projects, which work really similar to custom GPTs. So again, give it a try, play around, see what feature works best for you. My intention here is to give you a hint of what you can do so you can start exploring. So moving on, we will be talking about using AI to optimize your donation form. And I can see there are a few questions coming in, so keep them coming. We will have 10 minutes probably at the end of the webinar to answer everybody. So yeah, keep the questions coming through the chat or the Q&A. So when we talk about using AI to optimize your donation form and your conversion rates on your fundraising campaigns, I think this is one of the most low effort way to employ AI and get better results, because this is an example of a razorly feature, and it's literally just a toggle that you use to turn on the intelligent donation amounts, and it will dynamically adjust the donation amounts with AI. So we will use machine learning to understand what donation amounts will get the optimum balance between conversion rates and donation size. And it will keep learning throughout the length of your campaign, and will keep optimizing automatically. So our data shows that campaigns using intelligent donation amounts are seeing 12% increase in fundraising per session. So it is a pretty straightforward way to use AI to improve your fundraising results. It's really a no-brainer. So if you are launching an appeal or a peer-to-peer campaign soon and you want to test the intelligent donation amounts, I suggested to talk to the Raisely team, ask them and learn more about how it works and give it a go. It is a really interesting feature that I'm excited to see how it's going to change the results of campaigns out there. So the last part of our tips and suggestions here is actually using AI to automate day-to-day tasks and donor insights. And I have a few examples here. I'm not going to go in much detail about each of them because we could do a webinar about each of them. And I'm not an expert in Sales chatbots, for example. But there are very smart ways to use AI to create chatbots that are trained on our data. And I brought here a few different options, a few different softwares that you can look for to make that happen. Zapier has a chatbot feature. Chatbase also is a very interesting tool that lets you easily create and embed a chatbot on a website. And WonderChat is another option. What's interesting about those tools is that they enable you to actually give, similar to what we did with the custom GPT, give more context on your own data and your own organization background. And this could help with clarifying questions on your campaign pages, or just being a first touch interaction for monthly givers, regular givers. It's interesting. It's worth exploring, especially if your team spends a lot of time chatting, talking with donors, and clarifying some of their answers. Another thing we could use or think of to improve the way we work is to build workflows to automate daily tasks, or to really improve how we're doing a task with AI. So for example, you could use a tool, an automation tool such as Zapier, to connect Razorly and OpenAI and do pretty much whatever you want. I'm going to show an example in a minute. But yeah, it's just like, think about everything you do manually on a daily basis, and think about what could be optimized via automation. I will show you in a tutorial that I recorded how to connect the OpenAI API with Zapier and pretty much connect it with any tool you have. So the possibilities are literally endless. Think about some of the most time-consuming tasks for you and your department, and look at the Zapier integration. The integration page, for example, they have many different integrations with most used software out there. So your CRM is probably there as well. Razorly is there. So it should be easy to connect different softwares in a smart workflow that automates your daily task. We have been using this type of automation here at Razorly to connect Zapier with our messaging tool, internal messaging tool, which is Slack, using OpenAI to send messages to the Slack, to a specific Slack channel. It is really interesting and could be really powerful. And lastly, but not least, using AI to improve donor insights. So there's a lot of predictive analysis AI can do out there. And there are tools out there also that can help you get that done. I have two examples here of a CRM, which is Kila, which is about to be integrated with Razorly, and Daytaro, which is a Razorly partner. And it's also, I guess, if not, yes, Georgie, you can clarify if we have an integration directly or if not yet. But we presented webinars with Daytaro. They are amazing partners, and we love the product. So you could use both Kila or Daytaro or similar tools to improve the analysis that you do of your donor behavior, and therefore also optimize the way that you communicate with your donors, and define and decide the next steps. So again, another very clever use case of AI for fundraising that I'm not an expert on, but certainly you can look to any of those partners to learn more. So, sorry. Quick pause for the water again. So the example that I just mentioned of using Razorly and connecting OpenAI through Zapier is to personalize donor stewardship. So in this example here, we can use Zapier, which is an automation tool, and you could use any other automation tool out there. Even if Razorly doesn't integrate directly, you could build this integration yourself through the Razorly API. But this example is using Zapier, and I'll show you what it looks like on the back end in a minute. But what's happening here is that I'm using Zapier to identify any large donation that we will define the amount as we wish that come through a Razorly campaign. And Zapier will then create a new row on a Google Sheet um, to capture some of the information from the donor. The information capture in the Google Sheet will then be sent to OpenAI with a prompt that is written using some of the prompting techniques to then draft an email that is personalized to that donor. And the email is then added to a row in the same Google Sheet, to the same row in this Google Sheet. You could build this in a way that this last step here was, for example, sending an email through your email marketing software or even through Gmail, because Zapier connects with Gmail. But as I mentioned before, I think it's always good to consider the human in the loop. It's always good to consider where someone, a real person, will be reviewing the work and reviewing what AI is creating specifically for content to make sure it aligns, it is ethical, it is in line with your brand and the way you communicate and you want to communicate with your donors. And if it is not, it is a good sign for you to go back to the step before and optimize, improve, test different prompting techniques, test different prompt information to get better results here. So again, we have a QR code here that takes you to the page with all of the resources for this webinar. But I would like to show you what it looks like in the backend. So this is Zapier. If you are not familiar, it is a very straightforward, very easy to use tool. And the first thing that's happening here in this automation is a trigger for a new online donation. So when a new online donation comes to my Raisely campaign with a demo account that I'm using, but you will be able to choose your account. And in the next step here, you can configure the filter for this or the specific conditions for this trigger. So whenever a new donation comes, and in the next step, you would configure your donation amount for large donations, so whatever amount you consider to be a large donation, then Zapier will trigger this workflow and continue for the next steps. So this one here, so here's where we are filtering by the amount. The amount in this example should be higher than 1,000. And if the condition is met, then we will go ahead and create a Google Sheets that lives on our Google Drive. And we will add to this Google Sheet the name of the person, the email, the amount, and the donation date. The tutorial that I recorded earlier goes step by step into how to do this. I just want to show you the big picture here so you understand the flow of information. So this data then gets sent to OpenAI with a prompt that will then generate a response. So this is where it gets really powerful because you can connect any app with OpenAI through the OpenAI API, which has a cost, but it's a very small cost lately. And there's the prompt. You are asking AI, saying AI that you are a donor relations manager and your organization just received a donation of X amount from first name. Your task is to write a highly personalized email inviting this donor to consider becoming a regular donor. The suggested amount should be 10% of the donation amount. So you could give the details. So if you notice, I'm kind of using the Rhodes framework again, very naturally, because it's a framework that I use very often. I clarify the tone of voice and then say the length of the email, and it should be written in British English. And the last step here is to add the draft of the email to the same spreadsheet. So someone can access this and of course decide if it is good enough, add it and then send to the donor for a follow-up. So again, a very quick walkthrough of this automation, this workflow. I suggest you to go and scan the QR code, or you will get this link at your email later as well with the recording to access the video tutorial where I will take you step by step of creating this automation. and testing it and making sure it's working. Again, it's one possibility, it's one suggestion. I would like you to leave this session today thinking, really looking at everything you do and considering where it's worth exploring, adding AI to the loop, adding AI to the to improve your processes. So I hope you leave this tutorial with one idea of how to do it, and maybe the basic tools you need, the learning experience you need of like how to connect ChatGPT and write a prompt, so on and so forth, so you can do it for yourself in a way that works for your organization. And we have a bonus tip here, which is to use AI with responsibility. So one second. Yes. So we'll be talking about how there are many different ways of using AI, and AI is, I believe, a reality to our to our work right now, to the way we work, and especially if we work in the digital world, in tech or with tech. I think it's really hard to avoid AI, but there are very important ethical considerations you should be making, which is, first of all, being mindful of the environmental impact of AI. It still is a technology that uses a lot of power, and so we should be, again, optimizing our work, optimizing our prompts for better results, and being mindful about how we're using it, how we're implementing it. One of the things we can do to make sure we're not using more energy, more power than we need, is to learn about the models that are out there. So ChatGPT, for example, offers different models for different tasks. They recently launched the O3 mini version, which is a version for reasoning, but that consumes less power than the O1 version, for example. There are many tasks we can do, for example, with the 4.0 model, which again uses less energy than the O1. So go out there, explore, be curious, ask the questions, try to understand which model is best for what use case. Same if you use Claude or Gemini or any other LLM that's out there. It's just a good way to make sure we are not overusing AI or using a system that is more powerful than the one we need to. And I personally believe, from what I have been observing the AI industry later, that I think the trend is that, and we saw this recently with DeepSeek, the trend is that the systems will be very optimized for efficiency. So I believe in the future we will see AI consume less and less energy. And for the work that we do today, especially for content creation, it is already really good. So I don't think we would need more AI power to do the things we're already doing. And from now on, I think for this application, it would just be a matter of optimizing the amount of power it uses to complete tasks. Another thing to be conscious of ethically when using AI is taking actions to avoid bias and inaccurate or fake results. So since the first release of ChatGPT, when the world was really shocked about the power of AI, I guess if you have been using AI for this time, you probably saw that it is getting better over time at showing you the sources, being integrated with search, and you being able to see where the information is coming from, and hopefully fact check for yourself. But it still can create or perpetuate a lot of bias and give you inaccurate or fake results, especially when it hallucinates, as we call, when it decides that it doesn't have enough real information to complete the task that we're asking for, and then it goes and creates something completely new. So as always, it's great to have a human in the loop. It's great to have someone to review it with a critical lens, to make sure we are not perpetuating any type of misinformation or hate speech and whatnot. So yeah, whenever possible, use plagiarism checker to see if you're not copying content for anyone in the internet, from anyone in the internet. But if you use the prompting techniques that we just talked about, the possibilities are that you'll be able to create original content that's really tailored and unique to your organization, and probably, from my experience, not violating any, not creating any plagiarism. In the resource link for this session, we also have a version of the an ethical guidelines that you could add either to your prompt or to your custom GPTs to try to minimize bias, try to minimize inaccurate fake results, and really some of the behaviors in content creation we don't think is super nice. So, for example, we have guidelines here to focus on empowerment over pity, on authentic representation, on collaborative storytelling, and some of prohibited practices, for example, manipulative imagery, framing donors as saviors. I guess this is very personal, but for us here is what we think frames the guidelines of how we want to be creating content. So we would use these for example, create copy for the Razorly templates, which is all fictional for fictional organizations, but still we are considering how we are portraying people and how we are considering if we are possibly perpetuating any speeches that we don't want to. So think about that, write your specific prompt to avoid that from happening. And lastly, document your AI policy. Document everything, actually, your prompts and your guidelines. We have our own AI policy here at Razorly. In fact, we have an AI consideration process. So whenever we're building something new with AI, we just go through these documents with questions about the use case. What are the options? What are the impacts? Are we really considering and being mindful about the potential impacts, negative, positive impacts of this new application of AI, so we can make a decision that we're comfortable with. So this document will be reviewed by a team and later approved. So it is probably slowing down a little bit the adoption of AI, but it is completely worth it because it just makes you consider what you're doing. And lastly, but not least, talk about privacy considerations. So privacy is one of the key concerns when we talk about AI, and there are a few best practices we can all follow. One of them is to, whenever possible, anonymize personal information, or check if the AI you're using anonymizes personal information and where the information is being shared. Another thing to consider is where the server is located and if this country is under strong privacy laws such as the GDPR. So this was one of the big concerns with the rise of DeepSeek recently, because the servers are located, although you can self-host the system, the servers are located in China, where the privacy laws are weaker, and the use of personal information, the documentation about how personal information is being used is really not very clear. And it also enables or allows the information to be shared with third parties. So in our case here, for every AI tool that we use, we review the terms, the privacy terms, and the terms of use with our own legal team to make sure we're doing our best to protect our own data. And if you use ChatGPT, consider paying for the team plan, which lets you, by default, opt out of training the model with your inputs. And that's minimizing the data collection and just minimizing the amount of data that's then used to feed the AI model. So yeah, just a few privacy considerations and ethical considerations to follow. I guess this is an ongoing discussion, and it will be for a long time, because as you all know, the news are just blowing with new information every 2 weeks or every couple of months. So we need, if we want to use AI to empower our work and to improve our capacity, especially us that we're working for greater purposes, we need to commit to be in the conversation, to be following this conversation, and always considering those implications. So yeah, this is it for now. Thank you for joining. We have time for questions, but if you need to log off now, I would love your feedback later on the email of what, or here on the chat of what you thought about this session. I hope it was valuable for you. And again, if you want to chat with a Razorly expert, scan the QR code or go to razorly.com/demo to request a demo and chat with us about fundraising. Yes, thank you. This was really great and really rewarding for me to share all of this information. I'm gonna open the Q&A now to answer a few questions. Oh, a lot of questions. Love that. Thanks, everyone. So we have one here from Sien. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. What AI programs do you use? Yeah, there are a few programs out there. I guess the one we use the most here at Razorly is ChatGPT under the paid plan and with a specific set of guidelines to ensure that we're using it correctly. But you can explore, and I think most tools out there are also developing AI tools. So in our use case, ChatGPT. In my personal use case, I use pretty much every tool. Perplexity for search. We use Perplexity at Razorly as well for one use case, which is a great tool for search. Claude is really good if you want to learn how to code. It got really good coding capabilities. And more recently, DeepSeek, I've been testing it out, but the number one, I guess, our go-to is still OpenAI and ChatGPT. Jane asked, could you give an example of using AI to personalize donor stewardship? Yes, Jane. So I think we gave an example with the automation. Please look at watch the tutorial where you will be able to see the output, the actual output of the email drafted that was created by the automation. So Yonex asked how much information is generally safe to put in our prompts. I don't know if how much is like how the type of information or the length of information. The length of information really depends on the model you're using. They have something called context windows, and the larger the context window, more information the chat can handle in the chat. If you're using it as a chat, it can handle before it starts like losing context and hallucinating. So it really depends, but for let's say the ChatGPT 4o and o1 mini, they can handle really, really large prompts. I wouldn't be concerned about that. Test and see, but be mindful of hallucination. If you are in a very, very, very long chat, you could, for example, ask it to summarize and use the summary to start another chat with a new context window so you don't overload the system. Because unfortunately, it won't let you know that you have like passed the context window. So yes, I guess the prompt that I shared here is not the longest prompt that I've used. It is safe to go deeper and to use longer prompts than that. So feel free to try and experiment. It's definitely not a long prompt for a chat specifically. So there's a question here from Brownwing. What is the IP protection for an organization using or creating with your own ChatGPT? The IP protection, I think you mean the intellectual property. I would need to check on that to be sure, but I think anything you create, and that's from the conversations we had with our legal team here, that any of the outputs that you have from ChatGPT are yours, are your intellectual property. Now, I know there are discussions of like laws changing that. And DeepSeek definitely has another angle of that. So I think it really depends case by case. And I think the best way to answer this question is to talk to a lawyer or really read through the terms. But I will make a note to search that and get back to you, Brown, because I'm now also curious. But I'm 80% sure that it is your intellectual property. The outputs are your intellectual property. Jay asked, are you able to provide details of what you loaded into the customization fields when creating a custom GPTs as a reference? Yeah. So the templates that the custom GPT that I showed you, the instructions that are there are exactly the same instructions that you have access to in the template. So we have two templates, one tailored for campaign messaging and website copy, and another one tailored for donor email. And yeah, it's exactly the instructions that I've used. You can read it, change it to your liking, optimize it as you wish, and it's highlighted in there in red what you need, absolutely need to bring your charities information or details. So yeah, access the resources after the webinar through the link or through the email, and you will be able to get those templates. So Victoria said that our location in Cambodia lacks connectivity. Can AI work offline? Wow, this is a fascinating question. I know that DeepSeek has this capability of you installing it to run locally on your machine. I haven't tested this method yet, so I don't know how good it is, and I don't know the limitations. But the only AI that I can recall or can remember that works offline or can work in a server like a personal server, let's say, is DeepSeek. I would definitely look into that, Victoria, because you know, I'm now curious about the use of AI where connectivity is not that great. But yeah, I would look into DeepSeek if you want to explore the possibility of like running it on your own machine. So Jane has a question here. Could you automate a financial reconciliation between Salesforce and your bank account and digital receipts via Raisely? Jane, I'm not quite sure if I get your question because Raisely has a feature to automatically send donation receipts. So if you're using Raisely to fundraise and you want to send receipts to your donors, you don't even need Zapier or any automation to do that. You can set it up using Raisely to send a donation receipt to your donor for every new donation. Now, a financial reconciliation between Salesforce and your bank account and digital receipts, I think it's possible, to be honest. The Zapier has a lot of different integrations and a lot of different templates. So I would look for financial reconciliation, see what they have, and start from there. See what examples they have, even if they're not for fundraising or fundraising specific, but they definitely integrate with Phrasely and with Salesforce, so they likely have something to help you get started. And yeah, let me know how I go. Send us an email later on to share your progress on that. So another question here, does Zapier work with Microsoft or just Google products? And Nicole answered it, saying that it does. So thank you, Nicole. Yeah, Zapier has a very large number of integrations. And if you don't, if you want to explore another tool, there's a tool called NHN that with some developer knowledge can be self-hosted because it is an open source. So it's NHN. N8, the number 8, and then N. This could be an automation too that is not as user-friendly as Zapier, but could be an option for anyone who has access to developers. So we have a few more questions, but we are running out of time. I am just going to answer one more maybe. And then if any other questions that are here I can answer over email, I will. So yes, thank you very much. Let's answer Fawa's as last question here. What skills are required to build custom GPTs, DeepSeek, and Zapier, and integrated with fundraising marketing processes? Um, is Razorly able to package that for generic fundraising? So custom GPTs works within the chat GPT interface, and it's really for the chat interface. So you're building a GPT to chat with it using the chat GPT interface. If you want to use a version of custom GPTs to integrate with Zapier, for example, through the API. There's a thing called Assistance, the Assistance API from ChatGPT, from OpenAI, sorry. So go and Google Assistance API, and that's the API, the OpenAI API that you can use with your own files and with your own, say, context through an API. So the second question is Razorly able to package that for generic fundraising? Now, folks, I am not quite sure I understand what you mean by package that for generic fundraising, but I would love to hear more from you and have clarified that. Because yeah, if we can, we will be happy to share this idea with the with our developing team, our product team, to make sure we bring that solution for all of you. Um, so yes, I will be, because of the time, ending our session here today. Thank you so much for everyone that joined. This is a topic that I'm deeply interested in, and just having the opportunity to share with so many talented and hardworking people just is best for me. I am excited to see what you will create, and good luck fundraising in 2025. I hope you have fun. And yes, I'm always here to chat about AI or Razorly anytime. Hope you liked it, and yeah, good night. Well, night for me. Good good morning for you all. Thank you all. See you later.